Number 47 is Fiend. Fiend is the 7th boss in the game where you're up against Colonel Pluck, the boss of the factory world. Now, this boss is a lot more challenging than Muggly or the Pinchin Pirates, the bosses we previously talked about, and mainly for the reason that you have to get underneath his feet with just the right timing to avoid taking damage. This is especially hard in mirror mode, and while this boss can be pretty frustrating in the first phase compared to the second one where all he does is fly around, the music is absolutely fantastic, and it has many remixes and is pretty iconic in the DKCR community. Number 46 is Wonky Waterway, the first level of the Ruins world. This level does a good job introducing you to the ruins and all of its many secrets and puzzles and puzzling music and whatnot. But the real star of the show here is the Easter egg at the end with an 8-bit Donkey Kong holding up a Wii remote, which actually returns in Tropical Freeze. It's a pretty cool Easter egg, and I like it. Number 45 is Vine Valley, first level of the Forest world, and funnily enough, is also the first level of the Forest world in the original DKC, where Returns is inspired by. This one has you swinging around on vines and introduces you to the enemies like the chompers and the tikis that appear in the Forest world. The music is a very nice remix of Forest Frenzy too. It's a nice level. Number 44 is Sunset Shore. Hey, that rhymes. This is easily one of the most iconic levels in the game. It's the first one to feature the silhouette art style, which is absolutely gorgeous against the sunset backdrop. There are a bunch of ships and lighthouses in the background, and the music in this one is one of the best DKCR has to offer. It's easy to see why this level is so beloved, even if its level's design is sort of simple. Number 43 is Clingy Swingy. This one is kind of unoriginal, but also pretty fun. You're basically on a bunch of swinging platforms with the clinging grass, an idea that was introduced all the way back in the jungle world, but makes its way back into the forest, only a lot more challenging now. Like I said, it's pretty simple, doesn't introduce that much that's new, but it does have some nice, just enjoyable level design. Number 42 is Wigglevine Wonders. The same can be said for this level, another one in the forest world. You're riding on these vines called wiggle vines with these faces. I always thought it was kind of weird that they just had mouths. I'm not really sure what these things are supposed to be, but they look pretty cool, and they help the level stand out compared to some other ones in the forest world, which can be pretty similar to each other. Speaking of, we have number 41, Flutter Fly Away. This one has a bunch of the tiki zings with wooden platforms above their heads. This one has a remix of Treetop Rock, one of my favorite songs from the original Donkey Kong Country, which helps it stand out. It's used in other levels too, but I think it works really well here, and it's also really fun just jumping off all these different platforms. Number 40 is Temple Topple, the second and much better Rambi level because its use for him is a lot more. You're basically just crashing through the inside and eventually outside of the ruins as the path below you crumbles and you crash through towers. It's a really fun level, and I love the voices of the Temple remix. I'm surprised there was never a Ruins level in the original Donkey Kong Country with Rambi, but oh well, we have this. Number 39 is Sticky Situation, the first level of the Cliff World. It's one of the most challenging worlds in the game, same can be said for this level, and it's a bunch of sinking platforms going through the tar, and the music really gives you a vibe that everything's mysterious and unique and prehistoric, and I like that, even if some of these platforms can be kind of annoying. Number 38 is Wadey Way, another one of these cliff levels, where there are a bunch of these platforms that go up and down, and it's basically just a fun test of gravity. There's some pretty fun shortcuts to be had here from just skipping a bunch of these wading platforms. Pretty cool. Number 37 is Cog Jog. The factory has a lot of awesome levels, but I wouldn't say this is one of its best. You're in a bunch of girder beams clinging onto grass, which I do think is a good idea. It's just, it can be used a lot in this game when it didn't really need to. This is still a pretty fun level, but I felt like it could have done more to stand out. Number 36 is Precarious Pluto. This is the third Rambi level in the game. You just keep getting better and better, and it's in the cliff world. You're charging through a bunch of rocks and stones and boulders and such, but what makes this level more cool is that you get to go in the background and even just travel to the left, which is pretty rare a few times, which is pretty cool. Number 35 is Red Rising. This is the penultimate level in the game. The first half of it is just going across basic platforms that sink and rise out of the lava, but then there's a vertical climb near the end with a bunch of lava to avoid. It can be pretty fun and challenging, and you can only see what's ahead of you, and then the lava really starts climbing like crazy when you're shooting out the barrel cannons at the end. Pretty cool. Number 34 is Itty Bitty Biters. This one has a bunch of these little creepy things that jump around in the ruins. There are different varieties that comes in stacks, like the yellow ones and blue ones that hop around, and they make some pretty silly sounds. Number 33 is Rickety Brailles. The first level, the cave world, and it's just another basic Minecraft level, but a lot more fun. The track falls, and it's just very fun. I love the song too. Number 32 is Mega Ruby Run, the boss of the Force World. You're on these clingy platforms, and you gotta slam down on the arrows. It's pretty fun. Mega Ruby looks cool too. Number 31 is Ruined Roost. This is where you fight Stu, this big bird boss who looks pretty Arabian. You gotta throw bombs at him, but the real fun of this boss fight is seeing how many bombs you can throw at him at once. It's a very fun one. It's always fun trying to get a record.